Hey guys, it's Dasha. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to June's round of A Game of Tomes. If you're somehow by now not familiar, this is my TBR game. I used to play every month until I took a break, but I am now back and I am rolling and moving around my board again. If you want details on the rules, what everything kind of means, there is a playlist linked down below, and the very first video has all of the explanations necessary to play along with me. I truly do not know what happened to the month of May. I don't know if I'm the only one. It just kind of didn't really exist. I do have some videos coming, like they're scheduled, filmed, edited, scheduled down the pipeline, but for some reason in the month of May, it didn't exist. I had plans to film, I had plans to do all this stuff, and all of a sudden it just went out the window. But we're back, we've been reading, we've been buddy reading, we've been planning content, and it feels like I am back in the swing of things, which feels really, really good. So we're gonna start off once more by going over last month's stack, which is this little stack right here. So we've got One of Us is Lying, which was for the House Lannister space. I finished this, read that. Then I pulled a location card, which was Bravos. I had picked 100 Years of Solitude for that, and I DNF'd this book, but that does count for the game. I then had a battle card, which made me pick a random book off Instagram. The first book I saw I had to read, and it ended up working out okay because I had picked The Unbearable Lightness of Being, and I loved it. I finished this. Everything's fantastic. We then had another location card, Sunspear, and for that I picked She Who Became the Sun. I also DNF'd this, but again, that counts for the game. A little disappointed though. And finally, I picked a character card. I picked Renly. For that, I chose Inkheart, and I did complete this. So our stack is complete, which is fantastic. Did not want to start off on the wrong foot. So with that being said, let's get into the rolls. Okay, so here's where we ended up last time. The sun has decided to not cooperate. I've closed the curtains. That's what you see up there. But unfortunately, I need a little bit of light to film, so ignore that. Last time we drew the card random Instagram pick, which means that depending on how I felt about the book that I picked, I get to move forward, backwards, or stay put. I ended up quite liking the book, so I get to move up 4 spaces. So we're gonna go ahead and do that first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Roll number 1. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5. Tully, which is our... Oh, that's the jar. We've acquired the goods. I've completely forgotten about the jar. I had to go get it. That's on me. Let's see what we get. I should probably add new prompts to this. I don't know what we're doing. Let's do this one. It's caught between my fingers. I'm gonna do this in one smooth move, so you can see I'm not cheating. A translated book. Okay. We can work with that. All right, so for our first roll, obviously I have to pick a translated book. That could be, I mean, that's pretty broad. In the grand scheme of things, I'm not complaining. I'm gonna go with something short and sweet, and I'm gonna pick Albert Camus' The Outsider, or The Stranger, as it is called in some parts of the world. I do not know that much about this. I know it is a work of classic philosophy fiction, and it is beloved. It's originally written in French, and to be fair, I kind of have no excuse. I should read it in French, but I'm not gonna do that because it's summer and I'm not straining my brain too much. So I'm gonna read it in the language I'm most comfortable with. And that also makes it a translated work of fiction because I'm not reading it in the original language. So I'll eventually get to it in French, but for now I'm gonna go ahead and happily read it in English. Like I said, I'm not 100% sure what it's about. I do believe it's about a man grappling with the death of his mother and him kind of feeling like an outsider and like a stranger in the world, but I don't know much more than that. It is super short, so I imagine I will find out quite quickly. Camus is someone I've been wanting to read for a little while, and I feel like it's probably a great thing to pick up in the summer because it is so short, and I've heard it's just one of those that you can get through quite easily, but there's a lot to dig into if you really wanted to, so I'm looking forward to it. All right, let's do our second roll. 2. 1, 2. That is a location card, and what do we have? We have the Dothraki Sea, pick a seasonal read from my owned TBR. Our next prompt is to pick a seasonal read off my owned TBR, and in general I try to pick things off my own TBR now because I'm trying to get through it, but I don't... A lot of people associate summer with like romances and historical fiction, things that are a little bit lighter. I don't really know what to pick for summer because it's not really things I read. If I was playing this game in the winter or fall or spring, that'd be perfect. I struggled a lot trying to figure out what to pick for this, but I finally landed on The Rise and Fall of Ancient Egypt by Toby Wilkinson. You might be wondering like why I'd want to read just an overview of a civilization. I've heard phenomenal things about the way this is actually written. The way he chooses to present certain events and the way he writes history just makes it super accessible and super enjoyable to read. I've also had my hands on this book for a long time now. It has been 6 years and it's kind of embarrassing, so I do need to read it, especially because it was a gift from my mom. The reason I picked this for the summer is because to me the summer is partially for studying things that you wouldn't in school, and when I was younger I used to love all the ancient mythologies and ancient Egypt especially, so that was something I did in the summertime. But also just obviously Egypt is in a desert, it's hot. The imagery of Egypt is always summery to me, so I think it makes sense, and you can fight me on that, but I'm not gonna listen. All right, let's do rule number 3. 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Successful TBR, yes or no? I did complete my TBR, so we're moving up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And so from there, we've landed on a character space, and because this was technically the role, I'm gonna go ahead and use that as our book pick. So let's see what we got. We got Lady Marjorie Tyrrell. So the girl is as clever as she is pretty, and I have to read a popular or hyped book. All right, this is a fun one. So a popular or hyped book. This could literally be anything, right? Again, this one I kind of struggled with because I could have gone down any route, but I figured I should get a little bit of fantasy on my TBR, and I know there's news about the 5th book in this series finally coming out, which would be the end of the first half of this large series. Some of you may already know what I'm talking about, but I believe it is finally time to read The Way of Kings, which is funny because I just talked about Camus being like nice and small and like summer read, but I don't know. I'm in the mood. I want to know what the hype is once the 5th book comes out. I just want to be part of the community. So I think now's a good time to pick up and get through the first 4 books and get in on that Stormlight Archive train. This is apparently Brandon Sanderson's magnum opus. I do not know what it is about. I know it is a massive epic fantasy. I know it is massively popular and considered his best work. And I want to know what the hype is. That's all there is to it, really. A lot of people's favorite characters of all time are in here, and I gotta say, based on what I've already read from Sanderson, I'm kind of curious to know why, because his characters are not often ones I relate to a lot, and I am a bit of a character-driven reader. So hopefully I see what everyone else sees in this and kind of get in on that hype train while it's still going, while the series is still being published. Even though I really do enjoy binging series once they're completed, it is kind of fun to see all the content that comes out around Sanderson's books when they're released. So hopefully I like this enough to continue, and I think it fits obviously the prompt perfectly because it's an extremely popular series, very, very highly hyped. So hopefully it lives up to that. Let's go for a roll 4. 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Another character card. And we have Braun. He's always been an insolent, black-hearted rogue. That's what I liked about him. And for this, I have to use a random number generator to pick a book from my thriller mystery TBR. Okay, well, rule number 4 was a little unexpected. Always good to throw a wrench in the plans because I have not been reading a lot of thriller mystery lately. I kind of don't want to do this, but the cards will it. So let me get you set up here with my screen record. So my thriller mystery TBR has 43 books on it. So we're gonna go ahead to our random number generator that I have pulled up. 43, and we're gonna generate 31. Now the question is, do I sort them by name? I think that's what I've been doing lately. So we're gonna do by title, and now we're gonna count to 31. That is so fucking funny. Okay, so I got Pines by Blake Crouch. Pines is about some kind of government agent that goes to investigate a small town, and when he wakes up, things are all out of whack. Nobody quite knows who he is. His stuff's all missing. Everything seems kind of weird. The reason I was laughing is because I've had this on hold at the library for a while, thinking I should probably pick up a mystery or thriller on audiobooks. I have not been taking advantage of my library like I should be. So I thought I would put a couple of audiobooks aside and, oh, I didn't turn off screen recording. There I go. I thought I would put a couple of audiobooks on hold just to make sure I'm still constantly using my library and maybe just extend them. My hold for Pines just came in a few days ago at the time of filming this. So I guess that's a sign. I guess I will be reading Pines by Blake Crouch. I also do think it's going to be a good like summary read because it is set in like a small town in the mountains in the States, obviously. Because what is in the States, but it's like in a small town with like a forest, and it's kind of, I don't know, I'm getting a good feeling from it. I'm thinking it'll be a fun thing to pick up amidst some of the other stuff on the TBR. So I think this could have gone a lot worse, is all I'm saying. And our final roll this month, if I can find my, there it is. That's a 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another fucking battle card. Okay, that one's not too bad. Rate your last read. What was the last book I finished? I think it was One of Us Is Lying, and I just gave it a 3 stars, so I guess I'm staying put. And in that case, I guess I would have to just roll again to actually get a book. Let's see what we got. That's a 1, and that is House Stark, which is a reread. The final roll could not have gotten us something more perfect because since I have read Inkheart last month, I wanted to read the sequel, Inkspell, which is a reread, obviously, because I read the series as a kid. So that's what's going on the TBR. I could not have picked a more perfect roll. I'm so glad I managed to get it on the official TBR because once I get started with the series, I want to keep going. So, once more, this is a middle grade young adult crossover. It is a fantasy. It is about a girl, Maggie, and her father, Mo. Mo has an ability to read things out of books, but things from our world must go into the book in exchange, and that's how her mother goes missing. And it's a lot of dark stuff for middle grade, but I really, really love this series. There's something so wholly enchanting about it. I've always wanted to live inside this world, and the books just make me feel so safe and warm, and that's really weird to say about these books, but that is the truth. And I'm glad that I got it on the TBR. These seem massive, but because they're middle grade, they're quite easy to fly through. I had no trouble getting through Inkheart, so I'm really glad I managed to get this on the TBR. So here is our final stack plus Pines by Blake Crouch. I think it is good. It looks really, really thick considering we're a couple of days into the month as I'm filming this, but I have no fear. I believe in myself. I will be going to our family's lake house. I will have time to read. I am willing it into existence. I also want to mention here, before I close out, I am thinking of starting a book club over on Fable. If you don't know, Fable is an app that is just built for hosting like book clubs and watch-alongs for TV shows. So I thought it would be fun. I'd put up a community post if you didn't get a chance to see it. Just asking you guys if you've ever used Fable, if you're familiar with it, if you enjoy it, and if you would be willing to join a book club with me. Given the nature of my channel, which is chaotic, I would think it'd be a little mix of everything. I'm leaning more towards a lot of like non-fiction-y stuff, but obviously reading classics and fantasy series would also be on the list. So all that being said, if you are interested in joining, just either vote on the poll. I don't know how long they stay open. I don't know if it'll still be open by the time that I post this. But if it's still open, go ahead and vote. If not, just type a little comment. Let me know if that's something you would be interested in. I've got a lot of things planned for it that I think could be really fun. Like I'm thinking of making themes for it, especially for the nonfiction reads, where every kind of quarter or maybe half a year there would be one encompassing theme, and we read books that fit that theme. So it'd be really fun to see how they kind of flow together and see how those ideas are grouped together and dissected by different authors. So like I said, let me know if that's something you are interested in. Fable is free, obviously, to use. It is really, really low effort. What's really cool about it is that it has these breakdowns of each section of the book, either by chapters or by parts, whatever the book is organized by. so that when you get to a certain point, you can go and interact in the chat for that part, but you don't get spoiled for later parts. So it's really, really cool. I think it's cool. I've been meaning to get to some book clubs in there. It just hasn't worked out yet, but I'm hoping to, and I think it's a great place to host one. So if you're interested, let me know. There's a community post with asking about that, so go take a look at that. Other than that, my social media is also linked down below. You guys can always go talk to me there, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.